city-owned property, including parks, including roads. And so, there is a real trade-off to using these funds for city-owned buildings versus improving facilities, roads that are used by the general public, like parks, roads, first and foremost. So that's something to keep in mind when we start thinking about how to invest these funds in a way that most benefits the community.
Councilman James.
I understand, but I don't necessarily agree with you, because I think that the state of City Hall, the state of the police department are not representative of the city. They don't represent what residents really want for this city. We have a city hall that is beyond the point of just say, hey, it needs repair. It's an embarrassment. And let me speak for myself. I think that it is time for us to set priority where it needs to be. We have to update our buildings. I mean, we own homes, and we constantly work to update our homes and improve our homes because that's where we live. And this city hall represents all of the residents of Pontiac. And when was the last time that we've spent capital improvement dollars to make improvements and upgrades to this building? I think it's time that we prioritize it. I would like to do that. I would like to submit a resolution that we need to prioritize these buildings to bring them up to a standard where people will feel comfortable working in them. We're talking about bringing in new people. We want to increase our engineering capacity. I submit to you that we need to have the appropriate space to be able to bring these people to, because this building is not it. And if we want to be able to retain quality employees, we need to be thinking in terms of and really take seriously what needs to be done to bring this building up to a better standard.
Well, I'm not sure what you're disagreeing with, because all I said is there are real trade-offs involved, and there are real trade-offs involved. We only have a finite amount of money, and we have to decide how to spend that money. If we had infinite amounts of money, we'd have our streets paved in gold, and we'd have a brand new city hall. But we don't have infinite amounts of money, so there are trade-offs. I'm not suggesting that we shouldn't properly maintain the city hall, and there are, in fact, problems with deferring maintenance over and over again, because sometimes the cost can actually escalate and get worse over time if you postpone those investments.
That's right.
But I will just say that as we think about the priorities, like you and like I'm sure all of City Council, I've knocked on thousands and thousands of doors in this city over many years. And I've heard lots of people talk about investing in the roads. I've heard lots of people talk about investing in our parks. I can count on one hand at the most how many people I've heard talk about investing in City Hall. And so that doesn't mean it doesn't have to happen or need to happen, but it does mean that when we have a limited amount of money and we talk about prioritizing, we need to keep in mind what the residents really want and what affects most residents on an everyday basis. Every resident drives on the roads in this city every single day of their life. They don't come to City Hall every single day of their life. A lot of our residents would love to spend time in our parks at least every single week. They don't come to City Hall every single week. So I'm not saying we don't need to do it. I'm just saying that there are trade-offs. That's a fact. We only have a finite amount of money, and we have a lot of pressing needs in our community.
Councilman James made a very valid point in terms of looking at things comprehensively and for us to be able to plan strategically. And I think it's very fair for this council to say that we as elected leaders on behalf of the citizens see a great room for growth and improvement on strategic planning and having a full sense of what we're looking at. This conversation has been prompted by questions related to specifically the sheriff's substation, and for us to make priorities, we have to look at it holistically and comprehensively, which this Intel doesn't allow us to do presently. For the sake of time, I do want us to keep going. Parker?